Like almost all psychological concepts, leadership has been on quite a journey in the last 100 years. But I want to take you back first to the 1950s and 60s. This was all about leadership behavior, and the behaviorist approach needing to be both relationships orientated and task orientated to be an effective leader. I guess it's almost the start of the leader versus manager debate. Then in the 70s, we moved on to contingency theories, which in its simplest form means leaders need to be adaptable and lead in line with what's happening around them to be effective. Then in the 80s, a psychologist called Bernard Bass introduced the idea of transformational leadership. I know you've heard of that one. Yes, the dominant leadership theory is 40 years old, like many other lovely things that are turning 40. Bass, anyway, basically highlighted the role of leaders in inspiring and motivating followers to achieve extraordinary outcomes. Transformational leaders elevate their followers' motivation and performance by fostering a sense of collective purpose. That's ultimately what transformational leadership is. Modern day psychologists, this is an old idea at this point. We are starting to question if effective leadership actually requires all three dominant theories of leadership. Leaders need to know when to be task focused and when to be relationship focused. They need to know when to be adaptable, particularly in this VUCA world, and they need to create a shared sense of purpose. So the dominant theory with this view is the engaging transformational leadership model by the legendary Beverly Almino Metcalf. She basically outlines 4 clusters of leadership behaviors that drive high employee engagement and in turn, high performance. What she's talking about here is effective leaders acting in a way that positively impacts how people think, feel, and invest energy in their work. It's leadership with intention, or if you prefer, human-centric leadership. But what's really cool about this more human-centric theory of leadership is that we have some really compelling research to back it up. A longitudinal study was done. That's a longitudinal study conducted over a long period of time. Clues in the name, really. But this study looked into human-centric leadership behaviors like showing genuine concern, being accessible, and empowering employees. And they found these behaviors directly caused improvements in employee engagement and organizational performance. And this is huge. This isn't correlation, this is causation. So the researchers had a large sample, they tracked the behaviors over time, and they controlled for other variables such as culture, industry type, and economic conditions. So by isolating the impact of engaging leadership or human-centric leadership, the research provided some of the most compelling and scientifically robust evidence in leadership research history. Human-centric leadership directly and positively impacts employee engagement and performance. And that's why human-centered leadership is a big deal. And that's why I am a huge fan of Alexis's work. I think at this point in the interview, Al, you also start to come around.
Yeah, the truth is that as anyone knows, and the reason why often I interview experts is because I want to say, that doesn't sound right to me. I don't understand that. Is this a buzzword? But at this point, I actually was kind of starting to get it. And I could see how human-centered leadership would work in the real world.